of you. Good afternoon. Uh, what we discuss today is about the sequential logic. So we have been discussing about sequential logic. Now, last class, what we just had a brief introduction. So uh, there you remember that this is the the principal block diagram of a sequential circuit. So it must have memory. Okay, in order that it has a clear, it can remember what was the past sequence of inputs that has resulted in the sequential circuit coming to a particular state. So state is of primary importance when we discuss about the sequential logic, and that too we are restricting ourselves to synchronous sequential circuits. That means always an underlying clock is there. So any important event that will take place will be in accordance with the some important uh, say age of the clock or clock being present and this one. So in your laboratory, you have used 7474, which is an example of a positive edge triggered D flip-flop. Okay. You can also have a level triggered D flip-flop. Okay. For better design, actually, we stick to edge triggered flip-flop. That actually the bugs are very fewer. Okay. Uh, because if you allow a clock to remain one for a long period of time, and that time the inputs can fluctuate, so that may uh, result in getting the sample of proper outputs very difficult. Okay, so to make the sampling of outputs smooth and without any error, it is better that we use edge triggered flip-flops. Okay, so if you remember that this was the major block diagram where the entities are in the form of vectors. That means vectors means what? This is the input vector consisting of say n number of input signals. Then we have got m number of output signals, and the capital Y to capital YR stands for the next state inputs. Basically, they happen to be the excitation inputs of different flip-flops. Okay, and also small y1 to small yr, this stands for the present state variables. Basically, they are the outputs or the state outputs of the flip-flops. We can use D flip-flop, we can use SR flip-flop, we can use JK flip-flop, we can use toggle flip-flop, and so on. Okay, and also if a circuit has got n number of binary state variables, then 2 to the power n possible states are there. And reverse way, suppose we have got 11 states, then how many flip-flops at the at least I require, say 11 states, it is 11, 2 to the power 3 equals 8, and 2 to the power 4 is 16. So I require minimum 4 number of flip-flops. Okay, and these are the functional, these are the state transition diagram, the state transition table. All these we discussed. Okay, so and actually binary serial adder also we discussed. If you remember, it's a very simplest possible circuit, but it gives us a lot of insight. Okay, that means the idea of state, I believe it is clear, no, from our last day's discussion. Okay, there can be infinite number of input sequences possible, but we have to focus our attention on only a finite number of important input sequences. Okay, so for the binary serial adder, we got only 2 important states. Okay, all of you remember this discussion, is it not? So it is a 2-state sequential circuit. Okay, these are the states which we symbolize as A and B, right? And then also we went on to design the particular sequential circuit. That means state assignment, what we meant is that we have to have physical circuit elements. These are only symbolic states, capital A, capital B. Okay. Now state assignment means it is a process of assigning the states of a physical device to states of serial. Here we are discussing about serial adder. It can be in general in any sequential circuit. Okay. So if we choose to design using D flip-flop, then we'll come up with a particular state transition table. Okay, excitation function, output function. So excitation function means excitation inputs for the D flip-flops are nothing but D. We are writing as capital Y, but actually it will translate to the D inputs. Okay, so that means here you have got a delay flip-flop. This capital Y stands for nothing but it will be incident on the D input, the delay input, the data input. Okay, and small y means it is connected to the output of the flip-flop Q. Okay, the normal output, not Q bar, the complementary output. Okay, we are normally accustomed to deal with the normal outputs, that means Q, unless otherwise specified. Okay, so this much I believe we studied in the last class. I believe that there is not much doubt. Even if you need doubt, you can ask me, no problem. Now today we'll discuss with first of all the memory elements. Okay, that means state assignment means process of assigning the states of a physical device, that means memory elements to the states of the serial adder. So what kind of different memory elements that we have to deal with, right? So memory elements will be our first topic of discussion. That is, what is a memory element? It is a device with two distinct states. Okay, we start with the simplest form of memory, namely the bistable element. Bistable means two stable states are there. Okay, and SR stands for set reset. S stands for the set or when the output is at logic 1 state, and R stands for clear or reset state when the output is at logic 0 state. Okay, so again, a memory element means it is a device with two distinct states. Okay, that means let us say a D flip-flop, it can have Q equal to 1 when the Q is in set state, Q equal to 0 when it is in reset state. Okay, now I have to characterize the particular memory element. That means what defines the behavior, functional behavior of the flip-flop. So characteristic table of a flip-flop means it defines the logical properties of a flip-flop and it completely characterizes its operation. Okay. So this will be required when we are analyzing the circuit. Okay, remember that there is a difference between analysis of a circuit and synthesis of a circuit. Analysis means that the design is given, the implementation is given in the form of a network of circuit elements, including flip-flops and gates. Okay, and we are asked to analyze the circuit. That means how the output, how the output asserts itself in response to certain what you call sequence of inputs that happen in the input nodes. Okay, right? Input what you call the ports, right? So this particular analysis is required when implementation is given and we are just asked to find whether the specification is satisfied. A concise specification may be there and we have to implement it by using some certain logic elements. Okay, we can use CMOS circuit, we can use TTL circuits and so on, right? On the other hand, if you are asked to design a circuit, that means this is the specification and you are asked to design. Today, actually, we'll discuss about a design problem, small design problem. Later on, we shall take up the more and more complex design. And in the tutorial class also, we learn about the how to design a circuit using different flip-flops. Okay, so when we are asked to design a particular circuit, then we have to concern ourselves with the excitation table of a flip-flop. Note that there is a difference between the characteristic table or the function table of a flip-flop and the excitation table of a flip-flop. These are two separate tables. Okay, excitation table lists the required excitation inputs for a given change of state. Okay, so for a SR flip-flop, set reset flip-flop, S and R are the excitation inputs. Q is normal output, Q bar is the complementary output. Okay, so this is here we show in table 1 the characteristic table or the function table of the SR flip-flop. So what it tells us, it defines the logical properties. That means if these are the excitation inputs, what will be the resulting state. Okay, and note that here we have written SR, it has the time argument T. Here on the other hand, on the output side, we have written Q of T plus 1. Okay, that means next state. So there needs to be a difference between T plus 1 and T. Okay, note that it does not mean that T stands for any real number, any floating point number. No. T stands for the occurrence of a particular event in the clock. I'll describe it. I have drawn a waveform diagram to make it clear. Let me first read out the characteristic table. That means the function table. It is what you read. If the set S input is 0 and R input is 0, then QT plus 1 is same as QT. That means it says that the state is preserved. Okay, state is held. That means the present state is same as the next state. Okay. On the other hand, if the S is 0, set S input is 0, R is 1, then the next state will be that Q equal to 0. It means that the flip-flop will go to the reset state. Okay. Also, we see if S equals 1 and R equals 0, then the flip-flop will be in set state. That means the output will be logic high. And both of them being 1, it is not used. It is forbidden. I'll discuss why. Okay, so here you see. And just based on this function table, you see, I have drawn this waveform diagram. All of you please focus on the waveform diagram. All of you can see it. No, the clock inputs I am showing with how many periods you can you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 active edges. Assume that this SR flip-flop acts on the positive edge of the clock. That means the state change, if any, will take place when a 0 to 1 transition occurs in the clock input. Okay. It may be that there's no state changes. That means the next state is same as the present state. Then we say that the state is preserved. Okay, state is held. And if at all any state change has to take place, it will do so only at the positive edge of the clock. Okay, can you hear me, all of you? Okay.
Sir.
Yes,
so is it edge triggered or level triggered? Like this is not edge triggered, right? The diagram that you have drawn.
Yeah, actually the clock, the way I have drawn it is a level triggered. Yes, you're right. But assume that the details of the diagram I have not put. Okay, but I am drawing in such a fashion that so long as clock is 1, okay, whatever change is taking place at S and R will be reflected at the Q. Then it will be a level trigger. You're right. But assume that for the sake of discussion, I'll get to the detailed diagram of a edge trigger flip-flop later on. But to talk now, let me say that suppose the waveform diagram corresponds to that of an edge trigger flip-flop like 7474. Okay. Then what do I mean by T? And that means where what is the range of the time T? What is the range of the time T plus 1, T plus 2? Okay, to facilitate the discussion, I am saying that assume that the flip-flop is positive edge trigger. Clear? So then when I make the statement that the T, the time interval T ends with the appearance of a 0 to 1 transition here, then the next epoch or the next period will start from here, this positive edge, and until the next positive edge is coming, this is the entire interval. It will be talking about this as T plus 1. Okay. So if S, you see that just prior to the appearance of a 0 to 1 transition, okay, S has undergone a change from 0 to 1, whereas R remains 0, right? So this is the positive edge, the active edge. One setup time before that, S has become 0 to 1, whereas R remains at 0. Then looking at the function table, what I can say, S is 1, R is 0, so the next state will be Q equal to 1. Okay, so when I draw the circuit will show like it. Also, we can sample it in an oscilloscope. Okay, if we feed a periodic waveform, then we can see that is the output, or we can, with the help of a logic analyzer or logic probe or a multimeter, we can measure the flip-flop output, and we will find that Q changes from suppose Q was earlier reset. Okay, then Q will change to 1. That means it will become 0 to 1. That occurs in coincidence with the first positive. Clear? Okay, so this is the domain of T plus 1. Again, why assuming edge trigger flip-flop helps in discussion is that when we are talking about a level trigger flip-flop, the potential problem is that when clock equals 1 and the on time of the clock is long, then any change in the excitation inputs will cause the output to change, and there can be multiple transitions, and we are at a loss when to sample the output. We can sample the output when the clock falls to 0, from 1 to 0. But if you have a positive edge triggered clock, immediately after the positive edge has occurred, we can start and sample the output. Okay, one whole time after the positive edge of the clock. Okay, so over T plus 1, in that just prior to the active age occurring here, if S is 1 and R is 0, then throughout this t plus 1 interval, Q will remain as high. Okay. Now you again look at the second positive edge. Just prior to this, you see S has fallen from 1 to 0, whereas R has become 0 to 1. So now we are back to, so R equals 1 and S equals 0. We are referred to the second row of the function table. So here we see if S is 0, R is 1, then Q is supposed to be 0. That means the flip-flop will go to the clear state. That means Q will fall from logic 1 to logic 0. Clear? Now look at the third active age. Here what happens? Here, prior to one setup time is it something to do with the actual gate delay. That means how much time should elapse before R should take up a stable value, S should take a stable value before a 0 to 1 transition occurs at the clock. Okay, right? So here in the third age, you see that prior to one setup time, S has become 0, R has become 0. So both S and R are 0. That means we are referred to the first row. It says if both are 0, then Qt plus 1 will be same as Qt. That means in Q3 plus 3, we'll see that particular logic level which you have witnessed in T plus 2. And in Qt plus 2 is logic low. So Qt plus 3 also it will remain as logic low. Had it been logic 1, it would have remained in logic 1. Okay. So these first three rows are of utmost importance. After that, again, see for continuity's sake, here you see that for the fourth clock age, before the fourth clock age, S has become 1, R has become 0. So then according to the third row, output should become high. So Q has become high. Again, prior to the fifth age, S has fallen to low, R has become 1. So according to the second row, Q has become low or clear. After that, it will be as such. Say S and R both are 0 before the sixth active age, and after that, this state will be held. So it will remain as logic 0. Now, another impacha. Now, let me ask you one question. But let this particular condition, namely S and R, both the excitation inputs remaining at logic 1, it is actually not allowed, not used. It is forbidden. Why? What can be the reason? Is there any reason? What will happen? You see that I have drawn two alternative implementation of the SR flip-flop. One is using 4 number of 2 input NAND gates. Okay, and here I have used 2 number of 2 input AND gates and 2 number of 2 input NOR gates. These two are actually equivalent. Only you have to be aware that if S equals to, if we say that S input is applied here, R input is applied here, normal output is seeing here, and complementary output seeing here. On the other hand, when we are using NOR gates and AND gates, then R input should be placed here so that I can get this particular table is realized. Okay, so whatever circuit you draw should have a agreement with the function table. That should be held in, that should be kept in mind. Okay, so the characteristic table will be reflected by this circuit as well as this circuit. Both are equivalent. Now, can you answer why S and R both being 1, it is not allowed? It's forbidden. Why is it so? Anyone?
Sir,
yes, please.
In that case, Q and Q bar won't be, Q bar won't be complement of Q. Both would be 1.
Okay, that is one. Very good. So that means if both N, S, R are 1 and clock is 1, so you have got 0 here, 0 here, then both the NAND gate outputs will be 0. So Q and Q bar will both be logic 1. So that defines the definition of complementarity. That means at any point of time, if Q is at logic 1, Q bar should be at logic 0 and vice versa. That means if Q is at logic 0, Q bar should be at logic 1. But if you allow both of them to go to 1, then actually it happens so that Q and Q bar both are at logic 1. Okay. Also, that means now we cannot say that Q bar is the complement of Q because both are at logic 1. Also, when it falls back from 1 to 0 and R goes to 1 to 0, I cannot predict for sure that whether Q will return to logic 0 or logic 1. You know why? Because the two NAND gates can have difference in their propagation delays. So if S and R falls to 0, then this will become 1. Okay, and both of them are, this is 1, this is 1. So this 1 is appearing here, this 1 is appearing. So both of them want this will come to 0. Also for the second, this NAND gate, also both of the inputs are logic 1, so this should come to 0. Now one of them will come to 0 earlier, right? Suppose the top NAND gate is faster than the bottom NAND gate, then what will happen? The output will reach 0 earlier than the bottom NAND gate. So moment it reaches earlier, then 0 will appear here, and this will force this to remain 1. So now it will become 0, this will become 1. Clear? On the other hand, suppose the bottom one is faster than this, then what will happen? A 1 will appear here, 1 will appear here, so this will become 0, and with 0 appearing via the feedback, it will cause Q to go to 1. Then I cannot predict whether after S and R come back to 0, whether Q will come to rest in logic 0 or logic 1. So a certain indeterminacy comes about. For this, S and R both becoming 1 are prevented. Okay, for one thing, Q and Q bar both are forced to logic 0 or logic 1. That is, that defies the definition of complementary, that contradicts the definition of complementarity. And also, when S and R become stable at both 0, then I cannot predict for sure whether Q will be 0 or 1. Okay, that means unpredictability is there. That's why this particular assignment is forbidden. Okay, that is the reason. Next important thing is that excitation table. Please pay attention to excitation table. Excitation table you will require when you are asked to synthesize a circuit, when you are asked to design a circuit. On the other hand, characteristic table or function table will be useful to you when you are asked to analyze a circuit. Analysis means that you are given a network of gates and flip-flop, then you are asked to please find out the relationship between output and input. That is called analysis. Okay. And synthesis or design means that I am telling you in plain and simple English that please design this and that. This I want a circuit which will where it will be like a counter, like a register. You design the circuit. Okay. Then your job is to come up with a network of gates and flip-flops. It is not given. You are asked to come up with that. Then you require the excitation table. Okay. That means in order that a particular state change takes place, what is the required excitation inputs? Okay. So for 0 to 0 transition, that means prior to the positive edge, Q is 0. I want this to remain at 0. Then what is the requirement of this excitation inputs? It is that S is 0, R is X. X means don't care. I'm sorry I forgot to write, but you know, I'm sure X stands for 0 or 1. That means if I want this transition to be in force, then S must be 0, whereas R can be either 0 or 1. Okay, right? Clear? On the other hand, if you see now the output is at 0, I want it to go to set state, from the clear to set state. Then what is the requirement on the two excitation inputs? It is that S should be 1, whereas R should be 0. Clear? This is very definitive. That means S must be 1, R must be 0. Okay. On the other hand, if you see at present the state is 1, I want it to go to reset state. Then it is required that S should be 0, R should be 1. It is also definitive. Okay. On the other hand, suppose the flip-flop is now in set state, and after the next positive edge occurs, then also the flip-flop should remain at the set state. Then what is required of the S and R inputs, the two excitation inputs? It is that S can be anything. It can be at 0 or 1, but R should be 0. Okay, so it tells definitely that R must be 0, but S can be anything, either 0 or 1. Okay, actually, excitation table, the characteristic table. Okay, for example, 0 to 0, it can happen only when S equals 0, R equals 1, or otherwise R remains at 0, but S should be 0. So S should be definitely 0, R can be 0 or 1. So it is coming to be 0x. Okay, on the other hand, if the next state has to be 1 from the beginning state, that means 0 to 1, then it is required that S should be 1 and R should be 0. Okay, that means there is a state change. When a state change is in question, then you have to have definite values for S and R. Okay, at least for this SR flip-flop. Okay, so I believe the function table as well as excitation table is clear to all of you. I hope so. Is it not? Any doubt? Please let me know. So this is the simplest form of flip-flop. We'll go to more and more complex flip-flop, which will be more useful. More useful means, you know, what do I mean? It is that we can use any flip-flop in our design, but we shall make that flip-flop when you are asked to make use of a make use of a flip-flop that will result in some economy in the cost. That means always, in order to realize a particular circuit, we need some cutting of the cost. Okay, some economic realization. For that, it will be, that means the circuit, say excitation function as well as the output function. These two we are supposed to bring up. Okay, so this should be economically realized. That means functionally minimum. For that, it will be convenient for us if the if the excitation table has got lot of X's, the don't cares. We'll find that the JK flip-flop has got the maximum number of flip-flops. Sorry, maximum number of don't cares. Okay, so that means taking you back to this, do not ever forget this basic diagram here. So what we are supposed to design, we are supposed to, the sequential circuit also we are studying about, when we are called up to design the circuit, we have to get back to the combination logic design. Okay, that means we have to find a minimum way of realizing Z1 to Zm and capital Y to Y1. That means we have to design the output function as well as the next state function. This will be our main job when you go over to design a particular sequential circuit. That means it is boiling down to the combination circuit design. Now all of you please look into the JK flip-flop and see how it is obtained by some added connection to the basic SR flip. Very simple. Here on the second stage, I find that some feedback is there. When you want to have the JK flip-flop, an added feedback is required. This Q bar would be connected to this with S, and Q should be connected along with R. Okay, so and we rename S to J and rename R to K. Only this thing. See that this Q bar has come to be attached here. So instead of a 2-input NAND gate, this has become a 3-input NAND gate. Similarly, this bottom 2-input NAND gate has been substituted by a 3-input NAND gate, where you have added this feedback from Q. So normal output has come to be attached here. The complementary output has come to be attached here. No other change. Just see, just compare this gate diagram and this gate diagram. Okay. What we see here, the earlier this inadequacy, that means 1-1 was not allowed. This is now circumvented. The problem that was existed in the SR flip-flop is that 1-1 we cannot allow. Now we'll get past this problem. So it is now allowed that both G and K can be 1. Okay, so read this function table. It says that if both are false, J and K both are low, then state will be preserved. So there is a noted similarity between the first row of this SR flip-flop and first row of JK flip-flop characteristic table. Same. Both are 0, the output is preserved, the state is preserved. Here also 0 and 1, J is nothing but a renamed S, K is nothing but renamed R. So 0 and 1, clear. 1 and 0, 1. Only change is that now both J and K being 1, the output will be toggled. If earlier it was 0, now it will become 1. If earlier it was 1, now it will become 0. Clear? On the other hand, see the excitation table here in the earlier one, that means the excitation table of SR flip-flop, we had got only 2x. Now we have got 4 x's. The number of x's has become double. Now you can question how come it is useful. Yes, we'll appreciate that when you design a circuit using JK flip-flop and using SR flip-flop. We'll see that if we use a JK flip-flop, more simplicity will be guaranteed. That means the circuit will be simpler. The equation, the output equation, the next state equation will be simpler if you use a JK flip-flop instead of SR flip-flop. That is principally due to the presence of more don't cares in the excitation table of the JK flip-flop. And of all the flip-flop, JK flip-flop has the maximum number of don't cares. The D flip-flop, you'll be surprised, has no don't care. But still, D flip-flop we sometimes use, as we have done in the previous case, due to the simplicity of the design. So if you have to have the design turnaround time very fast, design turnaround time means conceiving the circuit having abstract specification, then you start with the state transition table, the diagram, then do the state assignment, then come up with the design. Okay, all these starting from the conception to getting the actual circuit means the design turnaround time. So if you have to get the circuit very fast, you have to use D flip-flop. Otherwise, if you want for economy in the design, that means the output function as well as the next state function should be as simple as possible. Thereby, it may lead to less number of gates. So then go ahead with JK flip-flop, right? So this is the logic or gate diagram of the JK flip-flop. The middle one is the excitation of the JK flip-flop, and the leftmost table accounts for the characteristic or the function table of the JK flip-flop. Now you see other versions, other variations of SR flip-flop possible. Particularly, say from JK flip-flop, we can get the data or delay flip-flop. Very simple. Or even from SR. And similarly, toggle flip-flop. So see, first of all, the another way we can characterize a flip-flop is that for the RS flip-flop only I have shown. For the JK flip-flop, we will discuss later. See, for the RS flip-flop, that means the set reset, RS and SR flip-flop are same. I mean, just I'm interchanging. So here you see, when you write QT plus 1 equals R bar, QT odd with ST, and RS both, as R and S both cannot be 1, so I have to write RS equals 0. So this pair of equations actually can describe the behavior of the SR flip-flop. So for your reference, I have rewritten the SR flip-flop characteristic table, and you see that this pair of equations account for this table very simply. So for example, if ST, I force it to go to 1, and this is not a arithmetic addition, this is a Boolean addition, logical addition. Then what will happen to QT plus 1? It will go to it will become 1, right? Okay. So that means immediately if you force ST to go to 1, definitely QT plus 1 will become 1. So that happens to take care of the third rule. 1 S equals 1, R equals 0, QT plus 1 equals 1. Clear? On the other hand, suppose ST becomes 0. If ST is 0, then actually the equation boils down to QT plus 1 equal to R bar QT. Okay. If RT is 0, then R bar goes to 1, so QT plus 1 will be same as QT, right? So if both S and R are 0, it happens to refer to the first rule. Okay. Okay. Now QT plus 1 equal to R bar QT. So now what will happen if R equals 1? If R equals 1, then QT will become 0. Sorry, QT plus 1 becomes 0 because R equal to 1 means is 0, and then with QT will give me QT plus 1 equal to 0. So that relates to the second row. So first, second, third row all are taken care of by this first equation, and R is equal to 0, that takes care of the fourth row. So it is equivalent to writing this characteristic equation of RS flip-flop, whatever we write in the SR flip-flop. So both are equivalent. Okay. Now come to a function table and excitation table of the delay or D flip-flop. So characteristic table is very simple. You have got only one excitation input, namely D. It is very simple. So just two rows. If it is D is 0 at present, Q will be next. The next output will be 0. It will be reflecting the present input. Similarly, next, if D is 1 prior to the positive edge of the clock, then QT plus 1 will be 1. Okay. And simply from JK flip-flop, if we put an inverter, the JK flip-flop will transform itself to D flip-flop. And the excitation table, you see, only one problem we can point out, there are no X's, don't cares. So the scope of minimization is very little. If 0 to 0 transition has to occur, D should remain 0. If 0 to 1 should occur, then D should become 1. Okay, so that means this output column is nothing but a reflection of the second input column. Okay, these are on the input side, this is the output side, excitation table. Again, if there should happen a transition in the output from 1 to 0, it is required that D should be 0. On the other hand, if no change should occur and the previous output was 1, then D should be 1. Right? Now come to the trigger or toggle flip-flop. What is this? As the name will tell you, trigger means that when it is on, when it is at logic 1 state, then there should be a change of the output, toggling. So toggling means that there is an opposition, reversal. If output was earlier 1, now it should become 0 and vice versa. So obviously this is the function table. Here also it is single input t. If it is 0, then no change in the output. Qt will be Qt plus 1 will be same as Qt. Otherwise, if t is 1, then Qt plus 1 will be the reverse of the present state. Okay, Q bar. Okay. Now, from the simple SR flip-flop, we can get it like this. The clock you drive along with the excitation input T via one AND gate and just feed the output Q bar here, Q here, right? Or you can even, and this is the way, that means this is the way I have drawn the detailed diagram. So here I have got total 4 number of input and NAND gates. Only I put a AND gate here. Qualify the clock actually is ANDed with T. Okay, and this is the excitation table. That means if 0 to 0 and 1 to 1 are desired, then T should be 0, otherwise it should be 1. For any change of state from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0, the T should be made enabled, made active. Also, from the JK flip-flop, we can convert to toggle flip-flop. We just connect J and K inputs together, right? So if you connect it together, J and K, what will happen, you see? And just as if it is a single input T. So when T is 1, then you just get it with clock. So it will immediately become like this, S and R. So it will lead to, if T is 1, it will lead to change of the output. Okay, right? I hope there is no doubt how toggle flip-flop has come to play. Okay, any doubt so far? Okay, so let me proceed. Now what we shall study, this simple JK flip-flop, does suffer from some inadequacy or some drawback is there. Let us try to discover it. Okay, the simple JK flip-flop. What is that problem? The problem will occur particularly in the 4th row. That means when JK is 1, the toggling should happen. And if it is a level triggered flip-flop, let me show that it will suffer. There is a potentiality of some problem. That is called race around condition in ordinary JK flip-flop. Again, I have redrawn the circuit. Just see. Either this or this. That means SR flip-flop can be made into a JK flip-flop. Okay, in this fashion. See, within the block, these 4 NAND gates are there, and outside these 2 AND gates. So in all, you have got 6 gates. Okay, that means the entire JK flip-flop will consist of 6 gates. 2 AND gates are added to these 4 NAND gates, or these 2 AND gates are added to these 2 and these 2 NOR gates, right? So in all, you have got 6. It is a combination circuit. You see that from a simple combination circuit, we are realizing a sequential circuit. Okay, by means of feedback only. Okay, so this is a feedback. Q bar is connected here, Q is connected here. Also here also we have seen that there is a feedback. So whenever a feedback or looping is allowed, so a circuit, a combination circuit will behave like a circuit with memory. That means it will behave like a sequential circuit. Okay, so now J and K are 2 excitation inputs. So we are taking into account all possible 4 combinations 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. So now the Y, the output can be either at 0 or 1. Clear? So that means for J and K both remaining at 0, the present output state of the flip-flop can be either 0 or 1. So it will lead to first row will correspond to that. Okay, and this is a combination circuit. So ST is what? AC is ANDing of J and Y bar. So G and Y bar means 0 and 1 ANDed, it will give me 0. R, it is ANDed K and Y. So K is 0, Y is 1. So it will become 0. So 0, 0 means as per the SR flip-flop. Now we have to refer to the SR flip-flop truth table, function table. So here means it will YT. That means YT, the state will be preserved. YT plus 1 will be same as YT. On the other hand, for this 0, 0, 1, 0, also here S and R both will be 0, and so YT plus 1 will be same as YT. That means the state will be preserved. Now if J is 1 and K is 0, what will happen? 0 again can, Y can be either 0 or 1. So in the first condition, what will be S? S is nothing but ANDing of J and Y bar. J is 1, Y bar is 1, so it will be 1, S is 1. On the other hand, R will become 0, so output will become 1. Now, if Y is 1, okay, and your S is what? S is ANDing of J and Y bar. So J 1 and Y bar is 1. So, look at the fourth row. J is 1, K is 0, Y is 1, Y bar is 0. So S is nothing but the ANDing of J and Y bar. J is 1, Y bar is 0, so it will be 0. And R is nothing but the ANDing of K and Y. So it will also become 0 because K is 0. So essentially, both are 0 means that it will be same as YT. Okay. In one case, it is 1, 0, S is 1, 0 means 1. In other case, 0 is a YT. And essentially, YT means is same as 1, so it will become 1, right? So see that how I am coming to the JK flip-flop function table from by analyzing this in a combinational manner. And fifth and sixth, you see, fifth corresponds to J and K remaining at 0, 1, and Y stands for 0. So again, you see S is ANDing of J and Y bar. J is 0, so it will become 0. What is R? R is ANDing of K and Y. Okay, K is 1, but Y is 0. So it is 1, 0. So 0, 0 is YT. On the other hand, S is ANDing of J and Y bar. J is 0, so it will become 0. R is ANDing of K and Y. K is 1 and Y is 1. So it will become 1. So 0, 1 means R is 1, S is 0, it will become 0. And here YT means Y is 0. So essentially, fifth and sixth row can be coalesced, can be taken together to give me 0. Lastly, seventh and eighth row, here lies the importance. Both S, J and K are 1. Y is 0. So what is S? S is J ANDed with Y bar. J is 1, Y bar is 1, so it will become 1. R is what? R will be 0 because it is ANDing of Y and K, and Y is 0, so it is S 0. Sorry, A is equal to 1, R equal to 0 means YT plus 1 will be 1. For the eighth row, you see that with J equal to 1 and Y bar equal to 0, S becomes 0, whereas with K equal to 1 and Y equal to 1, it becomes 1. So S equal to 0, R equal to 1, it means 0. So now, what can I write here? Because the output has changed, I have to combine them. I have to write in terms of some variable, Boolean variable. 1 and 0 are mixed. So I have to rewrite it in the form Y bar. Why Y bar? Because you see that here Y is 0, YT plus equal to 1. So YT plus 1 has become the reverse. Also Y is 1 and now YT plus 1 equal to 0. So it has become reverse. So Y bar T. So essentially I get this entire function table happens to mimic that of a JK flip-flop. Okay, so truth table of JK flip-flop is based on combination logic, which assumes that the inputs are independent of output. But it is not so. Due to feedback connection of Y is connected here, Y bar is connected there, the input changes during the clock pulse. That you remember. When clock equal to 1, when clock remains 1, the inputs can change and that will reflect in change in the output. So for example, J equal to K equal to 1, Y equal to 0, suppose Y equal to 0 at the beginning, then Y will change to 1. So again, when J equal to K equal to 1 and Y is 0, then output changes to 1. And suppose the clock remains at 1, then what will happen? I am getting back to row 8 because now J equal to K equal to 1 and Y has got the value 1. So now Y will become 0. So that means output is 1, again it falls to 0. And if the on time of the clock is long enough and the on time is much more than the combination propagation delay, that means you see that the delay involves the signal is passing through this AND gate, then to NAND, then to NAND. And also here from this AND to AND this the NOR. If this delay is much less compared to the on time of the clock, then the output will be fluctuating. Output will oscillate. That's what we are referring to here. So with J equal to K equal to 1 and Y equal to 1, we are over a duration TP, output can oscillate between 0 and 1. Okay, so this situation is called race around. Okay, so my dear friend, have you got what you mean by race around? Race around means that it is a level triggered flip-flop. Okay. So that means so long as clock equal to 1, any change takes place in the input that will affect the state of the output. Okay, so with J and K both are 1, Y, if it remains initially at 0, it will change to 1. Again, clock remains at 1. Okay, when clock remains at 1, it means what? That this gate is open to us. The signal can propagate. If clock falls to 0, then it will force the output of the NAND gate to 1. Otherwise, if clock is 1, whatever change takes place as SNR, that can go through the NAND gate and it can clearly affect the output of Q and Q bar. Okay, that is the situation. So if it is a level triggered flip-flop and duration TP means so long as the clock is at logic 1 state and the delay through the and NOR or between and NAND, this delay is much small, then the output can oscillate. Okay, it can once become 0, then it become 1 and so on. So this oscillation is actually will cause a difficulty in reading the output. We never know whether it is 0 or 1. Okay, so I have to wait for the clock to fall to 1. And in fact, that can be that can create problem in the design of sequential circuit. Let me discuss that. So clock pulse, I've written for you, clock pulse should be long enough. That means the duration should be long enough so that it allows the flip-flop to change state. Yes, that is important. That means flip-flop means what? Signal should be allowed to go from this end to this end through the 3 gates or even 4 gates, because there is another feedback allowed and another feedback involved. So the delay to the 4 gates should be less than the on time of the clock. That is true, but this should be short enough that this should be less than 2 times the delay. Okay, what do you mean by that? Flip-flop will change only once during the on time of the clock. If it changes more than once, that will create a problem. Okay, this oscillation or race around will be there, and that will not enable us to say that the output will be this only. Okay, it can be different. Okay, that means the clock pulse should be long enough to allow the flip-flop to change state, and at the same time should be short enough so that the flip-flop will not change it more than once or twice. Okay, so then what to do with that simple JK flip-flop? We have to augment the design. We have to bring in more circuit. Right? So clock timing and master slave flip-flop, we require a master slave flip-flop. For your benefit, I have redrawn the combinational circuit. You see, basically the sequential circuit block diagram. Okay, here you see the primary inputs, the primary outputs, and there is a feedback. Okay, this excitation of the JK flip, here we are discussing about JK flip-flop. So I have drawn a JK flip-flop. Excitation of the JK flip-flop is shown within the sequential circuit. Length of the clock pulse must be such allow the flip-flop to generate the Y function. You see, that means the length of the clock pulse, that means the on time of the clock should be large enough so that it allows the flip-flop to generate Y. But this this clock should not be present when the result of this Y is appearing here. Okay, so once Y is getting stabilized, then it is okay. All of you can see. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. So yeah. So that this please pay your attention. I have written everything for your benefit, but please pay attention also. The clock should allow the Y to be generated. Okay. That should be as long as the on time of the clock, but it should be short enough so that after this is once generated, now it is passing to the combination logic. Again, it is appearing at J and K. So when it is appearing at the J and K, that time the clock should vanish. That means clock should not be present when the values of the Y's are propagated to the combination circuit and appearing at the excitation input of the same flip-flop. But this is very difficult to maintain. You see, that means I have to satisfy this inequality. Delta T is what? Delta T is the gate delay. That means you see the signal travels through this AND gate, then this NAND gate, this NAND gate, and probably this NAND gate, because there is I have to think of Y bar also. Similarly here, this AND gate, this AND gate, this NOR gate, this NOR gate. So 2 AND gate plus 2 NOR gate, or 1 AND gate and 3 NAND gate. So this total delay I am referring to as delta T. Whereas TP stands for the on time of the clock, so long as the clock remains at 1. So I have to satisfy this inequality. That means delta T should be less than TP, less than 2 delta T. That is hugely, you can never predict that what type of clock I shall get. Okay, different customers can produce different amount of clock. So fixing the length of a clock pulse may be very difficult, if not impossible. To overcome this difficulty, we should always use master slave flip-flop. That means use another flip-flop. One is master, the other is slave. This flip-flop solves the timing problems associated with the feedback loop by isolating the inputs from the flip-flop from its output. That means when these output when this becomes what you call generated, okay, this is passing through the computational logic and comes up to that, but beyond that it cannot travel because there is a gate. The clock is sitting. Okay, why? Because this Y and Y bar. First, let me explain. When Y and Y bar becomes generated, this Y and Y bar will generate when clock is 0. Whereas the first stage, this say YM, that is the master Y. This is a slave Y, is the final Y. So when the output at the end of the master stage, this gets generated when clock is present. However, this gets generated when clock is 0. And this is connected to, again, J, but via one combinational logic. Okay, so the premise is that master slave flip-flop is built by keeping two SR flip-flop. One consists of these 4 NAND gates. The other SR flip-flop consists of these 2 NAND gates. Only thing is that this SR flip-flop gets triggered by the clock, whereas this gets triggered by the complementary of that complemented clock, not the clock. So their clock inputs are driven in complementary manner. If the clock signal which drives this SR flip-flop and the clock signal which are driving this SR flip-flop will be complementary in nature. This clock will be complement of this clock. Then what is the benefit I get? Benefit is that the first flip-flop called the master flip-flop can change state when only the clock pulse is 1. When clock is 1, then the signal travel from this point to this point is allowed. Not beyond that. You see, there is a what do you call a red colored dotted line. So the signal pathway is restricted from this point to this point when clock is 1, right? Not beyond. When clock becomes 0, then only the signal can propagate from this point to this point. Okay, say this point to this point, again via it can come only up to this point, not beyond, because beyond this if it has to go, then clock will become 1, right? So remember, when clock is 1, signal can travel from this point to this point. When clock is 0, signal can travel from this point to this point, but not via this feedback to here. Okay, so that means these two are isolated from each other. The master slave flip-flop can change state only when clock pulse is 1, while the second flip-flop can change state only when the clock pulse is 0. Now you see, I substitute this master slave flip-flop here. Then what happens? When the master slave flip-flop is replacing this JK flip-flop, that was the earlier the say simpler JK flip-flop, and the race around happened. Race around happened means Y could have changed, not always. Depending on the on time of the clock, depending on the relation of the on time of the clock and the gate delay, it can definitely so happen probabilistically that Y can change from 0 to 1, again from 1 to 0. That means instead of changing it only once during the when clock is present, it can change twice. That will create a problem. We wish to prevent that. Okay, that's why we are substituting this simple JK flip-flop by this master slave flip-flop. Then what happens when the master slave flip-flop is substituted for this JK flip-flop in the upper triangle? Then the inputs to the combination circuit do not change when the clock is 1. Okay, inputs to the combination circuit means this one. They do not, these Y do not change when clock is 1. When do they change? They will change when clock is 0. When the clock becomes 0, the Y's change and consequently the output of the combination circuit changes. However, this cannot affect the state of the master slave flip-flop. Okay, that means when clock is 0, you see, Y's can change, any change can happen in Y. They will propagate to the combination logic. They will come to sit only at this J and K point, not beyond, mind you. because that path is blocked. As this path will be open to them, that means signal propagation will be allowed when clock gets back from 0 to 1. Yeah. So when clock is at logic 1, then signal can propagate from this point to this point, but not beyond, right? When clock falls to 0, then only signal can propagate from this point to this point, and moment it comes to this point, then that means it can affect the state of the combination logic. It can lead to change in J and K, but however, even though J and K can change, they cannot affect the state of the they cannot affect the state of this master flip-flop, and of course beyond, because why? Master gets is sensitive to logic 1 level, not logic 0, whereas slave is sensitive to logic 0, not logic 1. Okay, that is the benefit we get. That means no race around now can take place. This flip-flop, if at all it changes during one period, okay, during one iteration of this sequential circuit, it will do so only once. It can change only once, not more than that. Okay, is that clear? So that's about the race around problem that we encounter if we get an ordinary JK flip-flop, and we can circumvent, we can prevent that problem, we can overcome the problem by using a master slave flip-flop. Is it clear, dear friends? Any doubt? Hello, are you there? All of you?
Yes, sir, no doubts.
Okay, thank you. So I believe we have to close it now, because you have to break for lunch, and after that you have a lab. Is it not? So
yes, sir.
If any doubt, you just send me email, or else we'll discuss. Definitely we shall take up tomorrow. That means what you have studied today is nothing. Only my request to all of you is that the sequential circuit will be of prime importance during the rest of the semester for this month. So remember this block diagram. A sequential circuit always, how does a sequential circuit differ from a combination logic? Only by having a memory. That means it tends to memorize or remember the past input sequences, and the past input sequences will definitely affect the state of the behavior of the circuit at the present point of time, also in the future. Okay, so this, do not forget the basic block. And after that, it goes without saying that a large part of the design of the sequential circuit boils down to that of the combination logic. That means basically we have to see that the output function as well as the next state function is nothing but a function of several variables. What are those variables? The primary input variables and the present state variables. So that means optimized design of Z1 to Zm and Yr to Yr. Here we are involved with all logic minimization algorithms that we have studied earlier. Okay, and we have seen one example, binary serial ladder. It is the simplest example possible, but it throws up a lot of insight. Okay, and basic way to design a sequential circuit we'll discuss tomorrow. That means we'll start with the word description, simple English language statement. From that we'll build up the state transition table, then finally do the state assignment. In fact, today in this problem also we have done state assignment. Then we have to think of which physical circuit we'll work with, whether D flip-flop, whether JK flip-flop, SR flip-flop, so on. For that we have to make use of it's a design problem, so we have to make use of the excitation table. So my dear friends, try to remember the excitation table of SR flip-flop, excitation table of D flip-flop, JK flip-flop, toggle flip-flop, whichever flip-flop you are asked to design with. Okay. And then finally, we have to write the transition table as we have done in this simple example also. This is the transition table, this is the output table. Okay, here we are dealing with zeros and ones, because having done the state assignment, we know for sure that these A, B or S1, S2, this will be replaced by 0 and 1. And then finally, we have to draw the Carnot map corresponding to the excitation function. Here was a single one and single output function, but there can be more than one excitation function, more than one output function. So all the Carnot maps we have to draw and simplify the capital Y's and capital Z's and then draw the circuit diagram. Okay, that's all. Okay, so we'll meet again tomorrow. Thank you very much for your attention. Okay. Still, if you have got any question, you can ask. Okay, dear friend. So let us call you a goodbye. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay.